Your fears are not real. In this video, I'm going to give you a very specific step-by-step guide on how to identify and deal with your fears and embrace non-resistance so that you can easily and effortlessly manifest the reality that you desire. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am your Muse, Traci. I am your favorite manifestation coach, and I am here to inspire you and empower you to live the life of your dreams, to create on purpose exactly what you want in all areas of your life, to stop settling and to stop suffering. You are not here to do either one of those things. If that sounds good to you, you are more than welcome to subscribe to my channel. I offer one-on-one coaching, and I also offer group coaching. My next group coaching program is starting up in January, so not too far off in the future. In my one-on-one coaching program, I will take you through the process of identifying and changing your programming. I'll also teach you how to integrate the creator belief system. Super, super important. I talk about this in all of my videos. I'll teach you how to release stored emotions from the past, as well as teaching you how to honor and process your emotions on an ongoing basis, as well as much, 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 much more. We meet 2 to 3 times per week, and in between sessions, you also have email access to me. It's an intensive month designed to create real transformation. This is for you if you want to move past the one-off coaching sessions that are sort of a band-aid. This program is designed to, kind of take you out of that type of routine, and it's created to create real change, transformation in every area of your life, because we're not just addressing one area. You might come for one specific area, that's totally fine, but if you're the creator of your reality, and you are, we're going to point this to all areas of your life, every area of your life that you have desires in, right? So most of my clients will stay with me in coaching 2 to 3 months to integrate these teachings. Some will stay longer, some shorter. It's always your call. And either way, my clients come out of the program transformed, back in their ability to create everything they desire. They stop struggling, they stop suffering. The work isn't necessarily over because it's always unfolding more and more. You are always going to be uncovering and integrating deeper layers of yourself, but you will have all the tools that you need. And, again, this is going to bring you out of struggle and suffer. And, my clients finally understand. They get all their questions answered, and they finally understand how to apply all the manifesting knowledge that they've been consuming. And they do. They have to apply it. I can't do it for you. I can teach you everything. I can walk you through it. I can kind of hold your hand and guide you, but you have to be willing to do the work. And I've been saying this a lot in my videos. You have to have the courage to take this leap, and you will. If you've come to this information, you've come to it for a reason. You're being guided to find a higher way. Okay, you're being guided to really understand who you truly are and to reconnect with that. Not everyone gets exposed to this information. Okay, and even if they do, maybe they just think, oh, well, this is some fluff. This is some, whatever. It doesn't resonate. So you're here. If this resonates, you're meant to do this work, and you're meant to realize your full potential. That is what you're meant to do. Otherwise, again, you would just come on this channel, other channels like this channel, and you would just, call it fluff or something like that. Okay, you guys, let's get into the video. So in my last video, or one of my last videos, I mentioned fear, and I mentioned the acronym, or what fear stands for, which is false evidence appearing real. And I had many comments about this with my one-on-one clients, and some email comments about it. And so I wanted to expand on this idea of fear, because fear is really the thing behind all perceived limitations. Limitations are not real. They're perceptions. And behind those limitations is fear. It's simply fear. And it really is the thing that keeps people stuck until you understand how to identify it and how to deal with it. So let's first talk about how to identify it. Sometimes it's really easy to identify fear because it is accompanied by a strong emotion and maybe a bodily feeling. So this is something that I want you to be aware of, this strong feeling, or sometimes I would call it a contraction, and fear. However you experience it, it can be felt differently for different people. It is something to pay attention to, how you kind of experience fear. It can be a contraction in your chest, in your heart, but it's a little bit different for everyone. But again, it's this feeling of, it's this thought of limitation followed by a strong emotion or bodily sensation, because fear only lives and breathes and grows when we feed it. Okay, so that's why I want you to again get familiar with how you experience fear. And fear isn't just being scared. Fear is a negative story, a limiting story. All of this really is fear. So fear is not just being afraid, like scared, of your safety. I mean, it is to some degree, but we can have fear about, our financial abundance. We can have fear about, our romantic relationships. We can have fear about any number of things, right? So it's not always just about safety, physical safety. Okay. And the reason you want to get familiar with how you experience fear and when you're experiencing fear is because, like I just said, fear only lives and breathes and grows when we feed it or buy into it or think that it's real. You would have to buy into it for it to be impactful on you and on your life. The moment you see fear for what it truly is, again, false evidence appearing real, it almost immediately disintegrates. I'm using this word disintegrates very intentionally because I want you to understand how insubstantial your fears really are without your belief in them. Without your belief in them, they literally disappear like poof in a cloud of smoke. It is only your belief in them that keeps them alive and allows them to grow and eventually allows them to sort of take over. So the more you feed fear, the more you believe in it, the more you add layers and stories to it, the more control over you it's going to have. And the more you'll start to base your decisions off of that fear, which is false. It's false. It's not real. It's an illusion. It's a misunderstanding. It's a case of mistaken identity, right? So anything that you think is, fearful, again, of your abundance, fearful even of your safety, fearful of your security, fearful of your power, your ability to create your reality, all of these things are false. They are not the truth of who you are. The truth of who you are is powerful, limitless, safe, secure, abundant, and abundance. This is the truth of who you really are. And so these things that we get afraid of and we perceive as limitations and we think that we have to actually buy into and be careful of and then change our actions to, work with them, it's all just based on a false concept. And the more you buy into this false concept, the more it takes over. And the more you cater to it, the more you believe in it, the more you cater to it, the more it takes over, and the bigger it gets. And the more parts of yourself you have to change and cater to this fear. Your fears cease to exist when you simply shine a light on them and see them for what they truly are. Not real. They're not real. They're just a thought. So first and foremost, you need to become sensitive to this contracted feeling, as I was saying before, and identify within yourself and understand that this is never guidance from your higher self or intuition or anything productive. Productive guidance doesn't feel like this. It's not ever going to feel like a contraction, ever. If you truly are receiving guidance from your soul or your higher self, it will feel calm. It will feel like an impulse. It will feel like a nudge, simply an idea that sounds good to you, not an idea that you're like, oh yeah, this thing that is real that I have to now bend to. I have to lower myself and hold myself and contract myself because of this thing. That's always fear. That's never, guidance or intuition from your higher self. If you are truly receiving guidance, again, it feels like this nudge, this little impulse. It feels like, just again, an idea that sounds good, something that you are delighted by, you're looking forward to. Oh yeah, I want to go here and do this. Oh yeah, I should do this. Oh yeah. It's like those types of things. It's like this type of guidance is followed by not a wild excitement, but it feels like an excitement, something that you want to do. And you'll also want to become sensitive to this different feeling as well, because unlike fear, this type of guidance from your higher self, from your soul, you can always trust. And you'll want to develop the ability to follow this guidance, even if it doesn't make sense. You're not always going to be shown the full path. You learn to trust, you learn to have faith on this journey. And the more you can learn to trust your higher self and your soul, the more you can learn to trust this guidance without needing to know all the steps along the way. Needing to know all the steps along the way is based on fear. Well, I can't go here because I don't know what's coming next. And I need to know because I'm not safe and I have to make sure that, no, none of that. You're always safe. You're always secure. You're always guided. So you learn to take the nudge, even if you don't know exactly what's coming next and where it's leading to. So just becoming aware that you will have these two different types of thoughts and impulses come up is so helpful, and distinguishing between the two. And know that there's one type of an impulse that's great to trust and is guidance and is helpful. And there's another type of impulse that can come up that is not real, not helpful. It is a huge lie, keeping you stuck and keeping you limited. With practice and awareness and with getting to know yourself, which is part of self-love, by the way, getting to know yourself, you will get better and better at identifying these different impulses and knowing which to trust and which to shine a light on and watch it disintegrate and disappear. Because when you shine a light on fear, it doesn't even make sense. You can see how unfounded it is, how unsubstantiated it really is. But you have to shine a light on it. Otherwise, if you just feel the contraction, you just feel limitation, and you don't look at why do I feel limited right now? Why do I feel this contraction? Why do I feel this uncomfortable feeling? And you just go with the feeling. Yeah, I feel uncomfortable. Let me plan, for this unwanted thing. If you don't look at why, then you will continue to buy into it. So it's really important that you get into the habit of shining a light on your fear. When you do, it will dissipate. It will disintegrate, right? So you have to shine a light on the fear that is behind the limitation and call it out. Call it out. You've got to shine your light on it, your light of consciousness on the fear, and it will then disappear. It's really that simple. And I know you guys have experienced this, because sometimes when I get on calls with my one-on-one clients, I ask them what's behind this, action. What is the fear that they have? And when they actually take the time to identify it, it's almost like they're laughing. They're laughing at themselves as they say it, because they understand the moment they express it verbally and identify what it is, they know that it doesn't even make sense. So I know you guys have probably had this exact same experience as well, when you do look at what the fear is, when you do call yourself out and call your ego out and look at, well, what fear exactly are you feeding me? Then you kind of have had that experience, I'm sure. I'm hoping that it doesn't even make sense, and you understand that it's not real, and it just sort of melts. It melts right in that very moment. So once you have identified that you are having a fearful thought and you look at it and you realize that it is a fearful thought, at this point, you are objectively looking at the fear. This alone should neutralize any charge. Once you are, able to recognize I'm having a fear and you look at what the fear is, the charge is already disintegrating. Again, the charge only becomes more, only grows, only, really feels real and scary when we don't actually look at what the fear is. So the charge starts to dissipate that was associated with the fearful thought. And just by looking at it and identifying, hey, I'm having a fearful thought, this alone starts to neutralize that charge. Once you've neutralized the charge, you will feel more free to let go of the thought, let go of the fear, and you can remind yourself that the fear is just a thought. It is, after all, it's just a thought, especially once you neutralize and pull the emotion and the charge out of it. It's just a thought. You have a choice on which thoughts to think. Of course you do. You're always in control of what you're thinking and what you're focusing on, and you get to choose, always, always. Now, sometimes we don't choose consciously. That's okay, but as you're going through this process, you are consciously choosing because you're doing it very deliberately. You're already looking at your thoughts, so okay, I get to choose. And so since this fear is not something that you prefer to experience and it isn't even real, you can choose any other thought than that thought. And you can choose a thought that is more of your liking, one that you would actually prefer to experience. Once you have neutralized the fear and seen it for what it is and freed yourself to choose something better and more of your choosing, again, more of your preference, now is when you can drop into faith and you can drop into trust and you can drop into non-resistance. Now, if you're thinking, how, Traci? How can I drop into faith and drop into trust and drop into non-resistance? Well, of course, the key to doing this is knowing who you are, knowing that this reality is your creation. Your 3D reality is a holographic reflection of your inner state of being, meaning your thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, emotions, reactions, all of this makes up your state of being. And your state of being is being reflected back to you by the circumstances that you encounter. That's all that's going on. So you can drop into faith, you can drop into non-resistance by remembering this, by integrating this. The evidence of your state of being is already contained within the state. You don't create it or attract it. You shift into it by changing your internal state, right? Did that make sense, you guys? The evidence of your state, meaning the 3D circumstances, are contained within the state. You're not creating anything ever. You're simply shifting your inner state of being so that the evidence that is in your 3D reality shifts as well. When you shift, the 3D evidence shifts. It's automatic. You don't have to do it. You're not creating anything ever. This is the explanation of parallel realities. So by shifting your inner state of being, again, your external circumstances shift right along with you. There might be a time delay, but again, you can shift into faith and non-resistance by knowing this, by truly knowing this. And when you truly know something and you practice knowing it and you believe it, then you're committed to operating by this principle and you will get better and better and better at it. So then if you know this, then once you have seen the fear, neutralized the fear, chosen a different thought that is more of your preference and dropped it right there because you know that is actually all that is required by you, then again, the understanding and acceptance and integration of who you truly are, you know that your job is done. Through that integration and knowing of who you truly are, you know that your job is done and you can go on with your day. Without the knowing who you are part, you can still go through these steps, but you will be using your willpower to implement these steps that you heard me or someone else talk about in a video. And you should be doing these steps because you don't want to be stuck, right? So yes, I want you guys to understand the steps and I want you to have this tool in your toolbox, but it needs to be based on the foundation of who you truly are, because if it's not, then you're just going to do it because I told you to do it, but you're not going to be able to operate from this place. It's like you'll be going through the motions, right? Because without knowing who you are, there's not the foundation. That's the foundation that will support everything that you have to do on this journey. Not react, not buy into your fears, not worry about circumstances, not thinking that circumstances matter, right? All of the things that we have to do are propped up, they're bolstered by this foundation of knowing who you are. And without this foundation, the things can crumble so easily because, as I've said in a previous video, your willpower, if you're only doing it from willpower alone and not from this foundation of knowing who you are, your willpower eventually runs out. So, working on knowing who you truly are and integrating that knowing and practicing operating from that knowing should be your work. That's the work. The work is not changing 3D reality. If you still think that, please go back to the beginning of my channel, watch all of my videos, and also watch this one again and again, because, and I'm not degrading anyone. I've been there. But if you still think that that's what manifesting is, it's okay. I've been there, and that's where you are, so it's perfect. But we need to get things the right way around. Manifesting is about changing your inner state of being only. No one to change but self, as Neville says. And when you change your inner state of being, the outside changes to reflect that. Okay? So, yes, this is the work. And it's not easy. I mean, it doesn't have to be hard, but it's also not going to happen at a snap of a finger. There are layers to this integration, and there's layers to this. And, we don't need to get it all right now. I know you want to, and that's fine. And you will, that drive, that motivation will keep you focused. It'll keep you determined. So there's nothing wrong with that. So again, back to this, this is the work, and this is where the work is, in my opinion. This is what I teach my clients to do. This is where we always start, first and foremost. And so whatever else you need to do, like I was just mentioning, will be so much easier. The foundation of who you are should be of utmost concern to you, not your affirmations or your thoughts alone. Again, this will only last so long because it's running on willpower, and your willpower is a finite resource, and it will only get you so far, and it eventually runs out. And speaking from personal experience, when I first started this journey, I didn't integrate the foundational piece. That's just where I was. So I've been there, you guys. And this is much harder. This is why a lot of people just like, no, I don't want to do that. That's the hard work, right? Changing what you believe about yourself, changing who you think you are in this world, and how you've always operated. You've always pretty much operated from this victim point of view that life is just happening. So it takes some time and diligence and hard work and really, persisting to change that. You absolutely can. Again, you're meant to if you're here watching this video. So I understand that firsthand, but this is what kept me stuck for years. My willpower would run out after about a week, 2 weeks, when I was getting better, at having more willpower, when I was building up that muscle of willpower. But again, it will only take you so far, and you don't need willpower when you understand your true nature and who you truly are. You just don't. You have an infinite source to run on, and it doesn't run out. And I want to make one more comment on resistance before I conclude this video. Manifesting is so much about dropping resistance. This is why things like surrender and letting go are so relevant to talk about. These are ways of dropping all resistance. And when you drop all resistance, things start to show up and appear almost automatically, magically, miraculously, and you could even say, automatically, like I just said, without you even needing to do anything. Okay? This is so important. And that is because you don't need to do anything. You don't need to do anything. Once you've identified your desires, accepted them, allowed yourself to admit them, embrace them, you know that you get to have your desires, that they are meant for you. There is nothing else to do other than drop all the resistance. Because remember, you're not creating anything ever. You're not making anything happen. Everything you want already exists and is already ready for you. When is it ready? Right now. Right now. We're not waiting on anything. It would be in your reality right now if there was no resistance within you. That's why we can manifest the small things like that, because there's no resistance. So your only job is to become non-resistant to what it is that you desire, you truly desire, and your big desires too. Accepting the current reality and accepting your desired reality simultaneously is non-resistance. Believing that you get to have exactly what you want is non-resistance. Not needing it, you can't need it. Remember, what you resist persists. So what you accept also can melt and shift and transform. Acceptance is powerful. I have another video. I think it's called something like Acceptance is Your Superpower. Go watch that video. It's that simple. Not easy, but it is exactly that simple. If you can allow yourself, again, through knowing who you are, to apply it to your reality would shift and transform like that, just like it does for the little things, the quote unquote little things. It is only ever your resistance that makes you feel stuck. That's it, nothing more. All right, you guys, that's it for this video. Leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear your comment. Let me know if this was an aha moment with dealing with your fears. And I also want to know how you guys think you're doing with identifying your fears, because that's the first step. You have to get to know when something is a fear. Again, false evidence appearing as real. So that's the thing. We have to get good. We have to build up this ability to recognize when things are appearing as real, but they're really false. And a good tip-off is any limitation. Any limitation is false. All right, you guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.